Hi, this is again Volleyball Explained Podcast, and with Nicola and Ronnie, we are going to make the final edition for the Italian League for season 23-24. How are you guys?
I will tell you tomorrow after the Champions League final. For the moment, I'm really fine.
I'm very fine, thank you, Bogdan, for the invitation. Sorry.
The invitation is permanent, and after 6 years of pain but growing, Perugia did it, and they won the title for the second time. 2018, 2024, they won the cup, they won the Super Cup, they won the Club Pro Championship. They won everything they participated in. So, in this regard, are you surprised by what happened with Perugia? And was actually a different scenario possible? What do you think?
And you go, Nicola.
I go. Well, I wasn't actually surprised. I mean, since the beginning of the season, I always thought that Perugia would have been the favorite to win the title. What surprised me is the path to the title for Perugia, because after beating Verona in the quarterfinal, they had to deal with the underdogs both in the semifinal and in the final. Because I think that basically the three of us would have thought that Perugia Piacenza would have been one semifinal and the most likely final Trento Perugia. But we know how it worked out. And unfortunately for Trento, losing the setter and all the other physical problems for the athletes hasn't been the best scenario for playing in the final. But I think that Perugia at the end deservedly won the championship. Finally, Sirci could start his show, and I mean, talking big here and then. And I'm particularly happy for a player like Plotnitsky, which I think had a monstrous season as long as he have been healthy. A little bit less in the final series, but I'm really happy for a guy like him.
Ronnie, just to mark that was the last season of Wilfredo Leon in Perugia, in Italy, even at least for now, and he won the title. And if I can add something to the question, most of the season, Semenyuk and Plotnitsky were playing as starters. Okay, Leon was injured. That's fine. But okay, not fine for them, but as a fact. And do you think that was the recipe for the success? Because Lorenzetti won it with a fifth title with 5 teams, I think. No, the other way around, 5 titles with 4 different teams.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit surprised after all, because I didn't expect that Wilfredo would show in any match of the final series or in any match of the playoff at all. I have to say that after 6 years, like you said, a millions trying to City Safety Perugia. They were like Manchester City. Too many millions without big titles, Finally, they get it. But we have to make this clear. There were some teams that at the in the pathway lose players like Trentino. Others didn't manage to get everyone healthy, and Perugia have like 2 teams. They can rely more in his bench than other teams because of the wealth this club have. For example, Herrera wasn't much of a thing this season. It was injury too. In fact, he will not go into the VNL the first 2 weeks, but he shows up because Bentara, who had an amazing season, didn't show up in the two games of going to into Monza. No, so Wilfredo also he was like a secondary character this season, a secondary character that who earns 1.5 millions. That's a big exclamation mark, but nevertheless he did what he was expecting from him since 2018, who was leading this team to the title. Yes, maybe Monza it wasn't meant to be the final team that I would expect, and you guys too. Maybe Trentino will have or will be a more suitable contender, but it is what it is. They earned the right to be there. It was a shame what happened to Sbertoli after almost perfect season, but these things unfortunately happens in every sport. So yeah, uh, I don't think Perugia will have to go to even a 4 game, but Monza, and we will speak about this later on. The two teams of Milano were surprisingly good this season, making for the first time in a long period a statement. There is not 4 team in Italy anymore. The traditional one: Perugia, Trentino, LUBE, now Piacenza, in the past Modena. Now more teams want to try to get there. In fact, the two Milano teams will be at Champions League next year, which is a surprise considering they won't have all the players that get that achievement next season. But that's another topic. Yeah, I'm really happy for Leon. It took him like 6 years. Uh, let's remove one because of the coronavirus, but at the end he won it. I will have to I I will have like to see him also lifting a Champions League in that period, but it couldn't happen. Maybe if he would stay one more year, maybe, but now it's out of the question. And whoever team he goes next season, maybe Poland. I wish him good luck. Nothing
So,
else.
Yeah.
just a quick
You-
question.
Yeah.
Sorry, may I? Yeah, a quick
Yeah.
question to a Cuban for a fellow Cuban. If you have to rate Leon's experience in Perugia 1 to 10, according to what he won more than what he performed, how would you rate?
In terms of the buying itself, I would say 6 or 7, because he didn't bring all he was supposed to bring, considering the price of the wage Perugia was giving him. For Leon, maybe an 8, because despite not being that successful, he won almost everything. 2 World Club Championships, that a title that doesn't matter at all. Three Coppa Italia for Super Cup. No, minor titles, but at the end, title itself. And he ends his path with Scudetto. Yeah, I mean, it's not the ideal. Maybe win Champions League every year was the thing that Circe was planning on. But I think for him, 7 or 8. For me, 6 or 7, something
Okay.
like that. Because it's not that he didn't deliver anything. I'm not talking about like when Lucarelli went to Trentino or Nimir went to Trentino or Modena. Those for me, those are below 5. But for the money they paid, I think he should have delivered more. Of course, he won individual titles, not that are many important to Perugia cause, but always were a player that lead on aces, spikes. Despite everything that people say, when he got to Italy, he was one of the best, and sometimes he was the best. Of course, nobody wins in volleyball alone unless you are like Ivan Milkovic and had a season maybe, but it's really hard. Um, I remember now your question, Bogdan. He had a good let's not say support character, because Semeniuk, at the end of the day, Blengini were the ones who put Perugia in that position to the finals. They only give them the final strike, push. But for me, Bentara was really good this season. I think Perugia finally, after many years, resolved the problem with the opposites. I think Bentara will stay in Perugia like Atanasijevi period. He will make a career there. I think a long one. So yeah, that's all.
Yep, interesting that more or less the squad of Perugia is confirmed for next season. Gianelli, Bentara, Russo, Lozer from Argentina, the Milano middle blockers so far, Semeniuk, Plotnitsky, and Kulachi. So more or less the same squad plus Ishikawa. So they will be good enough for sure. Okay, let's go to Monza, because Monza finished second in the cup. They finished second in the championship. One great addition was the fact that I was able to watch them live in Sofia this season in the Challenge Cup. They lost the Challenge Cup final, however. So they have a full album of second places this season in this state. However, Monza, I would say, overperformed for sure. What do you think? How much of a surprise is Monza?
Let's go, Nicola. Bringing your pain out, my friend.
No, not pain. I stated at the beginning of the season that for me, the corpse of the outside hitter was one of the more balanced in the entire league, and it worked out like that because they basically could sub in or sub out any of Takahashi, Maar, Loeppky without losing the efficiency of the team. I know that when a team reach a final, maybe losing will downplay what they've done. But in my opinion, reaching 3 finals in a year for a team like Monza has to be considered a great success, considering the opponents, especially in the Italian league and in the Italian Cup. They had a good year, but as we were talking before, I don't know what about the future, because they're basically losing more than half of the starting 6. And there are not so many players to cover these departures. At the end, I think that is and probably will be the best season in Monza for a decade, because I don't see them repeating this level of success, even if they didn't lift trophies, but they fought till the end for every trophy they were involved in.
Monza fairy tale. First of all, I want to congratulate their coach, who the entire season were like, let's say, a spiritual guide type. He transformed, in theory, a group of normal players with at best 5th place position to a team that could challenge the best and eventually go to the final playoff. So of course, in paper, Monza had an interesting set of players that maybe they are not the best, maybe they are not in the top 10 in any position. Maybe Ran Takahashi will have been close to that top 10, but they have solutions through the season. For example, using Eric Loeppky, the Canadian, in position 2, that was a good bet for the coach. Then the libero, sometimes he was very good, sometimes it wasn't, but he didn't playing that bad to put Monza in a bad spot. The middle blockers did their job, especially what is the name of
Galassi.
I was thinking because didn't want to say ball head because there are two of them, but Galassi, he will go to Piacenza next season, and of course for me all the show was the chemistry between Kashopa and the two outside hitters, and Takahashi and Stephen Maar, who played excellently most part of the time, of course. And this was a fun and interesting team to watch, especially in the semifinal against Trentino, when I was thinking that everything was over and Trentino will have won 3-1. They came back, and in the last two games, Trentino some kind of disconnect, maybe because of the physical problems that Lavia had, or also the opposite too. But was really a pleasure to watch them play. It's sad that next year they won't have the half of the squad that they have this year, so their Champions League will be a little bit shaken. In some ways, I don't expect them to reach semifinals at all. Them or their counterparts of Powerball Milano, but it is what it is. I mean, you made it. Will be good for the city, and that's all. I only criticize one thing. I know that Monza, Vero Volley Monza, split the budget and give more attention to the women's sector. The women's sector has been incapable of achieving a big results because of the Corneliano domination. And I thought that maybe Monza men reaching the semifinals or the final would have been an incentive to change things a little bit. I guess this will not happen, and we will have next year more money to the girls. Nothing against of. I think Milonza, the Milano Vero Volley, whatever, have a good team, but you need to have results to say the word. Okay, we have more budget, but look at this result. Look at this one, and it's very unlikely that tomorrow Monza wins the Champions League, considering that the Corneliano domination. But I only have that to say. I wish Monza men had more budget to spend in a proper team. Sadly, that won't happen next season.
Let's
Maybe
finish that. Yeah.
Sorry, no, I was just saying that maybe it's also a choice that you have more chance to compete in the women for titles than in the men's, because you see, in the men's you've beaten Lube, you've beaten Trento, but you can't go over Perugia. In women's, if I don't know, hypothetically Corneliano will fall in a semi-final, then everything could happen, no? So you have just to beat one team to win the title. And Monza beat two of the top three teams in Italy, and still didn't manage to lift a trophy. That's probably the choice they're making. Just guessing.
Okay, let's finish with Monza. That Takahashi is going back to Japan, Mujanovic in France, Loeppky to Lube. That's rumor still. Maar going to Piacenza, and Galassi also probably going to Piacenza. So this is what it is. Contorena, new signing of Monza. That's interesting. However, let's go to Trento and to Nicola, because Aquarone changing Sbertoli after the injury started brilliantly, and anyone was comparing him. Anyone was saying we can't make the difference because they are both without hair, and you can't actually differentiate them on the court. But what happened after that was that just Trentino started losing in the semifinal series against Monza, and from 2-0 to 2-3 wins, and they were out. Why did it happen?
Well, let's just say that Aquarone hasn't debuted in the Superlega since this season, so this was the first years ever at the top level. My opinion, for what it's worth, is that at the beginning, after Sbertoli's injury, he also seems to shine so bright because the entire team tried to put an extra effort to cover Sbertoli's absence. And so we had Micheletto playing, I think, 4 or 5 games he was basically untouchable. It was spiking, hitting, blocking in a way I haven't seen all season long. And then when physiologically the level, or maybe also the stamina of the rest of the group went down, and then the injuries, or at least the problems for Lavia, Rikritski, Potke, at the end they couldn't match the loss of Sbertoli, which in my opinion was having probably the best season of his career, even better than last year when they won the title. And after 5 games, 6 games, the opponents also started to recognize the way the Aquarone was playing and put in some better plan to stop him. So this is what's happened to me. I wouldn't blame it on the setter. No one did here. They were just sad because they lost, but at the end they also recognized the fact that in the situation that they were, it was probably the best they could achieve. In the end, they also reached the final of the Champions League with Aquarone playing both semifinals legs against LUBE. So maybe tomorrow will be a fairy tale, maybe not. But at the end, I don't think you can sub Sbertoli and you can replace him so easily, because definitely after Giannelli is the best Italian setter and probably a top 3 setter of the Italian league. So you're losing a key piece of your starting 6. Let's imagine Perugia without Giannelli or LUBE without the Cecco. I mean, it's something that totally changed a team. And for a while, they were able to cover that loss. And then I think it was more physically and mentally, because it was not their last chance. They will still have the Champions League final. And I don't know if you get what I mean. If probably the Scudetto were the only trophy on the table, maybe they would have gone a little bit farther. But probably even mentally, they're saving themselves for tomorrow's game and hoping that they finally lift it.
But by the way, I have a question. With Milano beating Trento for the 3rd place and the spot in the Champions League, what happens if Trento beats Jaszewski and won the Champions League?
Absolutely nothing. They will play the Chev. Volleyball is the only top sport in Europe where the title holder are not granted a place in the next
Another
next
brutally incompetent thing to happen.
If things don't change this summer, right? And to the point, that is what's happening. So,
yeah, no words, Ronnie.
I mean, Aquarone did his best effort. I even thought that LUBE could have a chance in that semifinal, especially after knowing that Sbertoli will not be setting. But at the beginning with Aquarone, they hold very well, especially because Micheletto, Lavia, and the opposite Rilishki, were in good shape. But after the playoff started, it was too much, and people started to predict more the setting of Aquarone, and he, of course, was very, very predictable in the choice that he was making. So mm, you add that with the little bit injured of Lavia and Rilishki through the playoff, was too much. At some point, Micheletto also was a little bit tired,
Yeah.
What I don't get is the lack of control that sometimes Fabio Soli had over the group, because especially after the semifinal, they won the first game, they lost the second one, or maybe in the
No, they
reverse
were
order
up to 0
to see in
in the
the.
semifinal.
I know. I was talking about the third place playoff.
Okay, yeah,
They
okay.
won the
Sorry.
first, they lost the second, and I thought, well, maybe Trentino have to reset and win the thing. But when I saw that 3-0 in the third game, I know that he absolutely lose the control of the team, and they have no desire to play anymore. So more or less like Perugia when they lose in the quarterfinal last year, you know. But I think because of the maturity of this group, because they are very, very young, uh, I think that was the aspect they were missing in that series against Milano, because playing in the Champions League is the thing that you make a team around. You build a team to compete, of course, but competitions in Italy, but and Champions League, of course. I will not be surprised if Trentino decides to not go into the CEV Cup next year and save money for more hiring or something like that, because at the end of the day, CEV Cup doesn't matter, Charlie Cup doesn't matter. We saw some Polish fans and some Polish groups saying that the Polish volleyball is in rising because they won challenge and CEV Cup. Of course, you won that because the teams that were supposed to play that in Italy didn't go. If Perugia were playing the CEV Cup or challenge, who would have won?
Perugia didn't earn the right to qualify for any cup last year. Perugia didn't qualify for the cup, so it's not like they
Well,
haven't decided to go. They didn't earn
but
the right.
they compare like Monza, Milano with Sawerche, who was the second place in the Plus Liga, and those are not the team that you have to compare. You have to compare with Perugia, who was the let's say the true second place, despite they lost against Power Volley last year. So in terms of teams, I think Poland will be very good represented in the Champions League next year, but Italy doesn't. So don't.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
but on the other hand, I think Perugia is more capable of winning the title, even if they don't have any other teams of Italy cheering for them. But in Poland, maybe Wigel also will try to win the Champions League next year. But it is what it is. And now I think Italy is experimenting a change of generation, in not only in Italy but in the volleyball planet itself. Too many old guys retiring or in their last season of their career. Simon, of course, the Cecco, Saiset doesn't play anymore, Odrashkanin. So we are experiencing like a change of generation. So maybe because of that, LUBE will not be that competitive next season, but we'll try to aim, of course, the semifinal. It will be very hard, especially with the recent news, but you know, sometimes some years you spend money to build a competitive team, and other years you have to lay down your bow down your head and see others success. That's all.
Milano, could they have done more? What do you think? Because we mentioned, of course, they are third place. They will play the Champions League. Uh, in the beginning of the season, we were talking about Ferrer Reggers, and I have predicted that he will be one of the positive surprises that happened actually. So this is one red dot for me. Matei, taking into account his his age, I would say that it's pretty normal that he had his ups and downs. Of course, he was very well compensated by Osnio Mergarejo and of course Yuki Ishikawa, who is the most consistent player for me of Milano during the season. Of course, Poro, a great Agustin Loser, and also I would like to appreciate what Damiano Catania, the libero, has done. What do you think?
I don't think they could have done more in Italy. They could have done more in the CV Cup against they were, I think that Varta Zaverce, or they've been eliminated by them. But in Italy, they've achieved third place at the end of the season. It's I think it's the maximum they could have aimed for. Or they could have been a finalist if they were on the same bracket as Monza. I mean, be on the path of Perugia in the semi-final of this Perugia, so well coached by Lorenzetti, is it's very, very unlikely that you go through. So at the end of the season, they get the spot in the Champions League. We'll see what type of team they will build. But for me, Milano, not just they could have done more. They probably kind of overperform in some matches, and they probably get the third place way easier than they did because of I fear that there was a choice also in Trento if it was better to risk some players during this qualification round of the third place or save them for the Champions League final. I don't want to say that was easier for Milano, but at the end they get what the maximum they could get. I don't think they could have beaten Perugia in any situation.
And they get to the third place because, like you mentioned, the flexible of the squad at some point of the season. You had in the summer Dirlich, who had a decent season in Cisterna last year, but he didn't deliver that the playing that was expecting from him. So you have to put Reggers sometimes to see if the kid could deliver, and especially in the last part of the season, he had a tremendous game against Perugia. In fact, was the game that they were able to win in that series, and was considered by many one of the best games in the recent history of the Superlega. But beside of that, like you mentioned, Matei was had his ups and downs, especially in reception. And Melgarejo is not a guy that will always deliver you good performance. So they did what they had best. One good news for the Italian fans was the good development this season of Porro. It is starting to becoming a more, let's say, important figure in the in the seventh position for Italy, and with the years, I think he will be for me the second one, but not too fast because Sbertoli is there. Uh, he will have his chances in the first week of the VNL, but for me, Sbertoli is the one who will go to the Paris Olympics alongside Gianelli. That's no question. But it is interesting that Porro family is becoming more and more important, and with the year, of course, Luca Porro is another talent that we will watch next season. And yeah, uh, good arguments for this team of Milano that won't change that much, or maybe will change a little bit because Mergarejo is going to the Russian Dynamo Law next season, and of course Ishikawa turning down an offer in Japan to play with Perugia, maybe win something in Italy before he goes to Japan. Yeah, uh, I don't like three types of good passing oxide hitters in Perugia because even Ole Plotinsky, Semeniuk, and Ishikawa are more likely the same. You don't have a strong shoulder or strong arm, so let's see how they complement each other. Because you need some firepower, not only reception and good passing, and Ishikawa can be that dude sometimes, but he also have moments of when he's injured, and yeah, this beginning of the season he was injured too many games. So let's see if he can hold the desire of man like Gino Shears one season and get out with it. So next season in the 25-26 he can go to Japan and play the rest of his career in then this new type of league they will bring. So yeah.
Okay, next team, Piacenza, and I believe that what I have written in the banner is saying enough. Piacenza disappointing once again. What is your opinion on that? Because each season we believe that Piacenza could done more, should have done more, but they didn't.
Well, I will say this because Simon plays there, and I think Piacenza general manager, as we have mentioned too many times, build this thing thinking only about names. They forgot completely about the status, the actual status of some key players. I will throw Simon in that mix too because yeah, they were good at some point of their career, but they're not like 20 points per game dudes anymore. Especially the oxide hitters, Leal and Lucarelli. They expect big things from them, and well, they spent more time in the injury list that making big plays for this organization. So yeah, Simon also was it was the first season that Simon didn't win any trophies in a pro club. In every season since 2012, he at least won something, one thing. And yeah, this tell me that maybe the end is near for him. So he will try it for last time to qualify for the Olympics, and whatever happened, I mean, he should not have any regrets of what he has accomplished in his career. Everything he could play in his prime, he won it. So yeah. Piacenza will have a different team next season. I will say that maybe better, not maybe worse I don't know. It depends what you like, because there are Uros Kovacevic, a former Trentino player, which is not in his prime anymore. Stephen Maar, of course, but Stephen Maar is like a coin. You toss into the air, and sometimes you get cross or face. In a good day, you have a good performance, but most of part of the time, you cannot count with Maar. Uh, Besides passing, passing maybe one trick or two. That kind of player, and yeah, they will keep Romano in the opposite place. I read in some page that they will trying to bring Bobolenta. I hope Bobolenta's agent see the trap here and don't fall for it, because this is a guy that need to play in a healthy environment, not in a toxic one when every single day people remind you that you are earning X type of money, and you need to deliver. And for me, Bobolenta is the future of Italy in the opposite position, but he needs time to get settled. He had a good season in Adue with Ravenna, and I think with the time he will become something good, especially better than Romano, of course. That was a solution at some point, but in a long term, in a long season, it's clear that he's nothing like a player that you can count. Of course, the most problematic thing for this squad is the foreigner problem. They have too many too little Italian that can cover. Recine will not go. Will go to Japan next season. They bring Galassi, and they will have to guess we will be the other Italian, because Brisard is the setter. So yeah, Piacenza have a lot of problems before they can aim or think even into going into a Scudetto final or something like that. So I hope in let's see, in 2 or 3 seasons they can change this, because they are one of the most richest team in Italy,
Maybe
and sadly they are not having the results they want. So yeah, another thing, I don't think Anastasi is the right guy for that job either. So many people want him to see gone to Poland or whatever. I don't know where is the hate comes from, but yeah, Anastasi for many people is not the right guy for this job, and they renew his contract one more season. So you can imagine how the fans are right now.
you said it all.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I said it all,
Okay.
nothing to add.
Next topic is the future of Lube. I chose this for several reasons. Firstly, Gian Lorenzo Blengini resigned, and now he will be the head coach of Bulgaria. So this is another topic which is pretty interesting. We are talking with Bulgarian colleagues actually today. I am publishing the podcast just after several hours about this. But Gianpaolo Medei is back as a head coach, but the setter's position swap is also interesting, because the Cecco is leaving for Modena, and now Lube decided they've taken a very interesting decision, very curious decision, to develop the young Mattia Bonifante, who is only 20 years of age. What do you think about this decision, and how do you predict the future of Lube?
They decide not compete for titles. That's the only thing we can say right now. No. because you don't bring young talent to this kind of war against Perugia, Trentino, and other big teams. And if you bring, that means that you are not interested in a winner squad, at least for the next 2 3 seasons, maybe four. So I know that the coronavirus pandemic take a big chunk of Cucina business, which is their main sponsor. But for the infos that I got, they were willing to pay a lot of money to keep Marlon Yant in the team, but the Russians offer the double and 50K more. So Marlon was intended to be one of the future players for this squad. Sadly, Blengini choose to overuse Nicola, and now he's facing a herniated disc injury because of that. But maybe was the fact that Jan didn't play too much that accelerate his departure from LUBE at least 3 or 4 years earlier, because I know that Jan liked the team and so on. Also, the opposite position and the setter position were not that didn't match together. The Cecco is leaving. The thing, they will try to convince Addis Laguncia to stay because they don't want to go to the market again and see what's left. And yeah, I mean, this is a team that will rebuild, a rebuild that started last season. They had luck and went to the finals, but that doesn't mean anything. They didn't want it. And yeah, for now on, will be a completely new LUBE, a little bit like the Facundo Conte years, who were playing for the Challenge Cup, 2013, 2014, something like that, before Juan Torena arrived. So yeah, it's sad because we were, LUBE were like that spot of light against the darkness of Perugia so many years, and now we have to concede. Maybe Trentino can avoid more Circe celebrations in the future, but will be very, very bad for them. I don't see him playing Champions League at least for 3 years, maybe less. Depends how bad is Alex' injury, because he is the key of this project now. Yeah, that's all for me.
I saw that Vladimir Alekno will be the head coach of Zenit St. Petersburg, uh, where Marlon Yant is heading. So I think this is a very big thing for a young player like him. So
I
he
mean,
will, he will be developed, I think. But the question is, would it be possible for him to adjust to the Russian way of thinking, of way of dominating by coaches, etc.?
especially I'm more concerned about his physique, because Russia is like a hard country to play volleyball. They don't defend. They don't have too many good passers. They just hit ball high and hard, and the rest is is not that important, So of course, Alegno take a huge part of Leon careers. He made them, I think. Let's say not made them, but finish the work that he started in Cuba and turning him to the best player in the world for a period. Jant doesn't have the physique that Wilfredo Leon have, but he can be a more aggressive player. And I think with Alegno, maybe he can accomplish that. I don't think Jan playing a long period of time in Russia especially because, like I mentioned, Jan always had a fragile body, the most fragile body I've seen in a Cuban. Too many injuries, or not big injuries, but periods that he cannot play too much. And if is something that you do in Russia is playing like a lot, and the travels are very long because of the distance between oblasts and places and all that. So and the weather. I mean, it will be a really demanding season for him, but I think 850K is more than enough for him at this age. I mean, I will talk that money too if I have the body and the skills. But yeah, I really wish him the best, and will be interesting. Of course, we all know that Russia doesn't play Champions League, which is sad, but because of that, they make a 16 teams championship with every team playing like position placement matches. I know that at this very moment, some teams are like ending that placement matches. The championship was already decided. Kazan won. Wow, what a surprise again. And yeah, next year, St. Petersburg want to. They will try to create something big because, as we all know, they have a 16 million budget every season. Like Alegno is reportedly winning like half of million dollars, of course, not rubles. And let's see. I mean, in paper they have a good squad, but the question is, can they be healthy through the entire season? That's the big if, because will be interesting have Kliuka and Yant, and of course Grebenikov will stay, and Poletaev, who is not healthy since I was like 25 years old, 26 years old. And
What happened to this guy? I mean, is he retired?
No, I mean he was recently here in Spain in a clinic that is very popular among the Italian too, making adjustment on his knee. He didn't took a surgery because the doctor there say that with their methods he will be ready, but he needs to follow a very severe steps to get there. Also Kliuka was there, and yeah, I mean, in for my perspective, he has what people say in in Latin community, a crystal body. He never was that player that could live on time like Mikhailov, and it happens because, as you know, he is 198 centimeters, but he jumped a lot, and that create like microfracture in his knee or his foot. Every season that Poletai was on, he had something different, and maybe with this strategy he will change. Also, I got news that he doesn't get along too much with the old coach of St. Petersburg. Neither Kliuka did. So I wish that this new Alegno, who has been resting from stress since the end of the Olympics, bring with new ideas, or could the bullshit between players, because they are been paying a lot of money to win titles. I think that they are not doing so. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what happens with this squad. But for me, if everything goes well, which is very unlikely, they can fight for top four. I don't think they will beat Kazan because that's a consolidate project, but they will try at least. better than the ninth places.
Okay,
This
guys.
is
Do we have something to add about the rumors and the transfers? Because we mentioned a lot of them during our talk. Like, for example, I was surprised when I saw that in Verona they will be joined. This is not confirmed. Konstantina Baev, Lokomotiv Novosibirsk, the setter, Russian setter, a Russian player again in Verona, a rumor, not something confirmed, and also Vitalian Podroshchanin going there. And okay, let's say it in this way. Do you have some information about the newcomer, Grottazzolina?
Grottazzolina.
Grottazzolina, yeah, Grottazzolina.
besides they are like a small village town in the end of the, well, not the end of the world, but they are a very small town that will play in the Porto San George, something like that. Something like that, in near of Civitanova. They will play their matches. I think this is the typical team that will go to the Serie A1 and get relegated at the final of the season. Uh, the Serie A league president even teased fans, saying that he want like an 8 or 10 teams championship in the future, always making these hideous changes every single year. The league change for bad, and yeah, this season especially we will not have that many stars, in part because some of them are leaving, like Leon, and others choose to pursue a money career in Japan. Leal is going, not that I care that much, to Russia. Lucarelli also to Japan, Reshine, like I mentioned. I mean, this next season, I see more gap between Perugia and Trentino, uh, beside the rest, So would be fun to watch, but not that fun. Not that fun. For me, of course, I will watch closely Modena because they hire Jose Miguel Gutierrez, and I want to see if it wasn't a thing of one season for Jose Miguel, or he can live in time and prove that he can perform in a more let's say focused team to make the playoff. Nothing else. Rami Alonso, of course, never got a chance in Piacenza. I think that's over his level. He will play in Taranto. If he doesn't get a started position in Taranto, or he doesn't earn that, I would say his career in Italy is very, very much over. Besides of that, Mergarejo, as I mentioned, will go to Dynamo. LO and Yant to St. Petersburg. Especially not too many Cubans this season there. Maybe or Simon. Uh, this year will be his last in the national team. Maybe next year will be his last playing volleyball. I don't know. And a funny thing, Juan Torena, Juan Torena, Juan Torena saying that maybe when he reached 34 years, he will be retired. Well, he's like 40 and he's still
Almost
playing.
next
Um,
year.
40 years and still playing. Like, come on, man. Now he goes to Monza to try to get more money. I mean, not that he needed, because he's very wealthy people right now. But come on, it's better to retire when you are good than like LeBron James getting eliminated in the first round of playoff at the NBA, and that's what Juan has become. Uh, Also for Matei, but Matei won the championship last year, so but yeah, people need to retire, man. Rest, come on. Don't get ashamed of yourself playing like bad in teams that doesn't make into the players. So, but he is their choices. Nothing that we can do about it.
Okay, guys. Next up in the list are the VNL, the most favorite tournament of Nicola. And then we'll have the Olympics, so we'll have enough
Yeah.
content to do. However, we'll have the Champions League final. I don't think we are going to make a special edition only for that, but we can join some topics and do another podcast in several weeks. But yeah, let's put the end of the podcast here. Thank you again for joining in the podcast, and yeah, let's wish Trento success tomorrow in the final. This podcast will be published day after, so anything we have told today about the Champions League final won't be of a significance when you watch this, because it won't be.
Because Nicola knows that I have a very bad luck. I will say that Jabreski will win 3-1. So in that way, he has hopes that Trentino wins.
So they will win either 3-0 or 3-2. Telling you 3-1.
No, but everything can happen. But I think, of course, Jabreski have a very more complete squad in terms of shape, not players, but in terms of shape. And I think they will try to end it fast, because they know if Trentino gets comfortable, it can be a long match, and that's something that Jabreski don't want, especially because they played like 5 years ago the final of the Polish Championship, 2 games in a row. So let's see, but of course they are the favorites to win it. Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
See you in VNL. You don't like Nicola? you will be visiting Parma with your family.
Yeah, we'll follow every game live while working.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Bye, and see you next time. Bye.
Right, thank you.